What's up, YouTube? It's time for the NCAA College Football Top 10 rankings as of October 15th, 2023. And before we get into the top 10, we're dedicating this video to Drew over at Clean Cheap Shots. Drew, he's a really good guy. He's at 116 subs currently. He talks about the sports card hobby and the history of the sports cards. And he shows you PSA graded cards and cards that he submits for grading, as well as complete sets from the 1950s, and mainly in the MLB genre. So if you have time, please go check out Drew over at Clean Cheap Shots. So without further ado, at number 10, we have the North Carolina Tar Heels. The Tar Heels are 6-0 this season, and they're second in the ACC. They're up 2 spots in the rankings from last week. The Tar Heels had 0 votes for first place. They haven't really beaten anyone since they hosted number 22 Pitt on October 29th of last year, in which they won that game 42-24. They host Virginia this week. On November 11th, they will host number 16 Duke, and their offense is led by standout running back Omarion Hampton. Hampton has rushed for 658 yards this season with 8 touchdowns, and he's received for 10 yards and a TD. At number 9, we have the Oregon Ducks. The Ducks are 5-1 on the season, and they're 4th in the Pac-12. The Ducks dropped 1 spot from last week. They have no votes for first place. Now, they beat North Carolina in the Holiday Bowl last season, 28-27. This past Saturday, they lost at number 5 Washington, 36-33. This week, they'll host Washington State. Next week, they play at number 14 Utah. And in 3 weeks, they'll host number 18 USC. Their offense is led by wide receiver Troy Franklin, who has received 689 yards on the season and 8 touchdowns. At number 8, we have the Texas Longhorns. The Longhorns are 5-1 this season, and they're 3rd in the Big 12. They're up 1 slot from last week. They have no votes for first place. On October 7th, they lost versus number 6 Oklahoma, 34-30. September 9th, they beat number 11 Alabama, 34-24. This week, they'll travel a short distance to Houston, and they have no notable games for the foreseeable future. The Texas offense is led by running back Jonathan Brooks. Thus far, Brooks has rushed for 726 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's also received another 121 yards and another TD. Number 7, we have my alma mater, the Penn State Nittany Lions. The Lions are 6-0 this season, and they're 2nd in the Big Ten East. Penn State's down 1 spot from last week. They have no votes for first place. This past weekend, Penn State defeated UMass 63-0. On September 23rd, they beat number 24 Iowa at home 31-0. This week, they have a huge game at number 3 Ohio State. The Penn State defense is led by Adisa Isaac, who has 5 sacks on the season. At number 6, we have the Oklahoma Sooners. The Sooners are 6-0, and they're 1st in the Big 12. The Sooners are down 1 slot, and they have 0 votes for first place. On October 7th, the Sooners won at number 8 Texas, 34-30. This week, they'll host the University of Central Florida, and they really face no one of note thereafter. Their offense is led by quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Gabriel has thrown for 1,878 yards and 16 touchdowns. He's also rushed for 208 yards and 5 touchdowns. At number 5, we have the Washington Huskies. The Huskies are 6-0, and they're number 2 in the Pac-12. They're up 2 slots, and they have 2 votes for first place. They won last week versus number 9 Oregon, 36-33. This week, they'll host Arizona State. Now, November 4th, 11th, and 18th, they have all games of note. On the 4th, they'll play at number 18 USC. On the 11th, they'll host number 14 Utah. And November 18th, they'll play at number 12 Oregon State. The Huskies' offense is led by quarterback Michael Penix Jr. He's thrown for 2,301 yards and 20 touchdowns. Number 4, we have the Florida State Seminoles. The Seminoles were really the cool team when I was a kid with Neon Deion Sanders. FSU is 6-0 on the season. They're 1st in the ACC. They have 1 vote for first place, and they were ranked in the same spot last week. Last week, they beat Syracuse 41-3. In their season opener, they beat number 19 LSU 45-24. And this week they'll host number 16 Duke. And they don't really play anyone of note the rest of the way. The Florida State defense is led by Kalen DeLoach. DeLoach has 30 tackles and 4 sacks on the season. Number 3, we have one of my nemesises, the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are 6-0 this year and they're 3rd in the Big Ten East. They have 1 vote for first place and they have the same rank as last week. Now last week they won big at Purdue 41-7. September 23rd, they won at number 15 Notre Dame 17-14. And last year they lost by 1 in the Peach Bowl versus Georgia. And this week they will host number 7, the Penn State Nittany Lions. And on the 25th, they'll play a road game at number 2, Michigan. And the Ohio State offense is led by standout wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. If this name sounds familiar, it's because his father is in the Hall of Fame. He has 604 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns this season. And the number 2 ranked college football team this year, we have the Michigan Wolverines. The Wolverines are 7-0 and they're 1st in the Big Ten East. They have 16 votes for first place and their rank is the same as last week. Most recently, they defeated Indiana 52-7. They've really faced no one of note since they played at Ohio State November 26th of last year. This week, they'll play at Michigan State. November 11th, they'll travel to at number 7 Penn State. And November 25th, they'll host number 3 Ohio State. The Michigan offense is led by running back Blake Corum. Corum has rushed for 546 yards and 12 touchdowns. He's also received 43 yards. And the number 1 ranked NCAA college football team as of October 15th, 2023, the Georgia Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are 7-0 and they're 1st in the SEC East. They have 43 votes for first place, which is down from 50 votes. And their number 1 rank remains the same. Last week they won at Vanderbilt 37-20. They've beaten no one of note since last year's college football championship, in which they slaughtered Texas Christian 65-7. Now on October 28th, they'll play at the Florida Gators. November 4th, they'll play versus number 20 Missouri. November 11th, they'll play versus number 13 Mississippi. And November 18th, they'll play at number 17 Tennessee. And the Bulldogs offense is led by quarterback Carson Beck. Beck has thrown for 2,147 yards and 12 touchdowns. He's also rushed for 50 yards and 3 TDs. And there you have it, folks. That's the NCAA College Football Top 10 Rankings as of October 15th, 2023. And if you like this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe.
5 years.
Play action pass by Beck. Has a man wide open, and it's a touchdown.